All right, so we're live on TikTok. We are live on the other apps, which I can't say on here because then it's gonna start going. But yeah, let's get into it. John, hello, how you doing?
Good, Bobby. How you doing today?
Not bad. For anybody who's gonna join in, this is John Larson, my lawyer, and also he does transportation law. So definitely, this is gonna be good for the channel, for the show. Just go over a bunch of stuff with him. Probably gonna get started. I'm guessing Carrier 401 first, since that's always the biggest, best subject that everybody wants to talk about. I mean, if you want to just introduce yourself again, John, I know we've done this before, but just tell us about yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I have Larson Law. We specialize in this industry dealing with Carrier for One, Highway.com. Both those, I have good relationships with both Darren at Carrier 401 and Michael over at Highway.com. I'm not advocating for them. I'm just saying that they can be reasonable when needed. I have good relationships with both of them. I love our trucking industry. I want nothing but the best for our trucking industry, but I do take on only cases for truckers. I don't take cases for brokers. So that's something that distinguishes me a lot from other law firms, which will take money from anywhere they can get it. So yeah, we do try to stick just in the part where you're in, Bobby. And as you know, we've been successful in getting freight guards removed. My number one thing is I always tell my clients that, which is always important, I want to share this here, is don't lie to me. I'm your lawyer. You have attorney-client privilege. You can tell me, anything you want, and, I cannot spread that. So I like my clients to tell me the truth, which helps me then negotiate for a freight guard to come down or whatever other actions we can get.
Also, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the Darren part, but we could agree to
Right.
disagree on that. But
No. So I've heard horror stories with people that have talked to Darren, and I'm just saying as you know, Bobby, I try to make it my business to get along with everybody, even while I'm fighting with them. I could be nice to somebody while I'm killing them in court. We do great when we go to court. I think you're an example of that. We've taken cases and won cases for lots of people that maybe some were thinking was not winnable. So we have great success, but there's nothing wrong with being good with people because I might need a favor down the road.
when you get a chance, watch some of his podcast interviews. You'll get a kick out of some of them. But first question, I guess we're gonna get into is so basically, for some reason, Carrier for One is obviously somehow above the law, right, on getting sued. But
Well,
sorry,
right.
but if a broker actually gives a report and it's BS, they're not above the law to get sued, right?
Well, a broker is easier to sue. It's not the carrier can't be sued. They can be sued. There is a law that protects them because they're not the posting party. But first, you have to get you got to include their broker anyway. The reason the broker is easier is they do have limited funds. They can't keep up a big lawsuit just to give you a bad name. So they better be really, really thorough in their facts. They better, have some kind of tracking system where they can prove things they want to prove, and that's difficult for a lot of them. And I'm not saying we would take that as the only way to win a case, but that's usually how it's done. Is we go after the broker, not Carrier 401. Not that we have not gone after Carrier 401 in the past, but it's kind of useless without putting the broker in first.
So basically, if a broker if any brokers are listening, they should probably understand too. They should probably be cautious before just posting any kind of BS report because they could get in trouble for it.
Absolutely, and I've talked with Darren about this on Carrier 411 that he boxes some of these brokers into a corner where they've got to allege stuff that isn't true, and that's a lot of times where we do win for the trucking industry. Is brokers are just hitting these check mark boxes, say yeah, fraud, this, that, and pretty soon we're hitting them with a lawsuit, and then all of a sudden then they want to take it down. So, I wish Carrier 401 did things a little bit different. I have talked to Darren with that. I don't know if they ever will in the future. But the brokers right now could check pretty much just any box they want to, at least from what I could understand. And that's a problem for them because they start hitting boxes, and what gets them on a defamation lawsuit.
Yeah, I think there has been a couple lawsuits where they lost significant amounts of money recently. Some
Yeah,
brokers, I think it needs to happen a little bit more, especially for the ones that are giving them out just like candy.
right. I had a broker once call me. I'm not going to share any names. It's in Ohio. A broker called me wanting me to help him out. And the problem was he was being sued by someone who was just going nonstop. Just nonstop. The suit has been going on for a year. And it's pretty much bankrupting the broker, or at least that's what was conveyed to me. So, again, brokers can't last the fight, most of them. But, that we've had good success with that.
Yeah, but another messed up part is like, a carrier just can't call carrier for one and be like, hey, dude, could you guys help us? They actually like block the phone numbers of the carriers as they're calling, and they don't give the carrier no chance whatsoever to even try to dispute it or give their side of the story or anything like that.
Well, Carrier 411, yes, their system, I believe, is where the broker puts the complaint in. I believe they might send a notice to the you or somebody else. But what does that do? It's kind of like when somebody puts a ding on your credit report. Yeah, you could put a nice little note in there, but no credit agencies are reading it. And that's similar with Carrier 411. From what my understanding is that whatever you put on there isn't going to change anybody's mind. So you really have to, again, I have to keep on sound like a broken record here, but you got to go after the broker. That's the one that is doing the defamation. That one is the one that needs to be held accountable. And, you got to be willing to file a lawsuit.
Do you ever see in the foreseeable future that maybe there is a way to if like carriers get mad and just get a class action lawsuit against Carrier for one themselves, or they're kind of like off limits, you think?
That's a good question. I don't see how that would happen because, again, carriers so when you post a bad rep on Google or Yelp, you're not suing Google or Yelp. You're suing the person that posted the bad review on you. And that's similar to the situation where Carrier 411 is putting a class action against them would be like putting a class action against Google, and then you wouldn't win it being that they're not the ones that are posting it. They're just they're regurgitating what somebody else is posting.
Yeah, and then I know you've been doing quite a bit of these. So like, have you what percentage wise you've been pretty successful getting them removed from carriers? When
there's a couple I have not been able to get removed, only because my clients can't always afford the fight. And don't get me wrong, I'm not super duper expensive, but you got to figure that when you're going to sue a broker, you're going to have at least probably $5,000 into a basic lawsuit. It'll get more expensive if the lawsuit drags on. It just doesn't usually drag on that long. Usually I've got one case that's ongoing right now, only one of all the cases I'm doing, that is dragging on more than I thought it would. And even there, I think, we'll win no matter what. I believe we're going to win, but I do think that the actual carrier, the broker themselves, I'm sorry, is going to bow out at sometimes. You can see that it's not going well for them. But even if it was going well for them, we're deep in discovery now, and as it gets more into depositions, that's when the costs get really high, especially for the broker side.
damn, they actually took it to depositions.
Well, we're not there yet, but that's the next step. So I would be surprised if it does not end before it gets into depositions. Because once we do depositions, I'm deposing, everybody on their team to expose whatever they think they've got. So maybe it's just not the person that put the post on. Maybe it's the people that handle the phone call. I'm exposing everybody. I want to know how they came to this defamation that they posted. And they've got to do the same thing on our side. So there's going to be, 4 to 10 depositions, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, at least maybe if some carriers get together, like from one bad broker that does a bunch of FreightGuards and get a class action against them. I mean, they really just got to start teaching these people lessons so they don't just, do this stuff, because they don't understand that, like, especially in the market right now with what's going on, like a good company could get ruined over a stupid FreightGuard. And
it could. And one of your friends, I'm not going to mention name, one of your friends, his company suffers because of something that somebody won't take down. And so we are trying to convince them to take something down. And but yeah, again, I just, you got to sue. And Bobby, to your point, I wish we had some kind of list where we could say this broker is a common problem. Whoever, maybe I should even put that on one of my websites.
like
These are the brokers who I have issues with. And if somebody else wants to join in, hey, let's join in now and maybe get some kind of class action suit going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a super good idea. I mean, that's another thing we want to get into is highwaymen, because everybody right now is complaining about highway, and then you're probably going to know, more about the subject. But isn't it like some kind of like breach of privacy, invasion of privacy at this point with what highway's doing with having like your ELDs and having all this information? Now they're requesting like a driver to send his CDL if it's non-domicile, so on and so on. I mean, at what point does one company have way too much information and power over you that it's really causing a lot of companies to not be able to use them, and they have a majority of the market of the brokers using them?
Well, Highway is a growing company, highway.com. Again, though, as far as the what you're talking about, this is something new. They haven't always been getting all this information, collecting this information. I honestly don't know too much about where they're even getting it from. There is a lot of information that's available from when you put your MC number in. That's automatically available to pretty much the whole entire public, but it seems like they're going beyond that. And honestly, I don't know how they're doing it. So are you guys the ones submitting it? Are they asking you to submit it,
Well,
or
they're
are the
being
brokers
forced
having
to,
you submit it?
because they keep on coming up with the stuff like, like for example, like say if you say you went to your buddy's office and he has like a bad reputation on a company, and you use his Wi-Fi to set up through Highway, and the IP address now links to your company and his company, and now both companies are screwed. That's one example. VIN number two, like say you bought a truck off a company, and you just bought a truck, and they had like a shitty company, and you registered that truck, you insured that truck, now it's in Highway. Now they're linking both. I'm like, they're going like doing some wild stuff.
Yeah, so the problems right now that you're having with some of that is if somebody buys a truck that was with a different company, you're kind of associated with that company without meaning to be associated. And I think that's where the bigger problem is, at least right now, early on, is there doesn't seem to be an avenue that I'm aware of anyway that allows you to cut ties. So if I, let's say, buy a trailer or something from somebody else, and their VIN has been used for some kind of freight report on Highway, I don't know how that gets disconnected, if it's just by luck or what. But I get a lot of people that call me that says, hey, I have nothing to do with the company they're complaining of, but my VIN number now shows with my company from the other company that's been posted about, and they kind of get caught up in that.
Yeah, and then that causes them a lot of issues because now they can't book loads, and now they're trying to say they're associated with that company. And I mean, like, this is where, like, technology and then information kind of goes a little bit too far and just messes up a lot of good companies.
Right. So far, the communications I've had with Michael from Highway.com have been successful. When I've alerted him that there was a problem, I haven't had too much pushback. Sometimes I had to prove a few things. Again, this is kind of a weird thing. I only have one company that seems that they can't get their information off there, or at least reduced. Highway uses what I understand to be a 3-color code system, and I can't even get it reduced from what is it, yellow to a gray or whatever the colors they use. So will that turn into a lawsuit against Highway? I don't know. It looks like it possibly could. But yeah, they've got to catch up with technology or, change a few systems to fix that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it keeps on getting worse and worse because, like I said, right now, the new thing is now for that non-domicile CDL stuff, now they're having the driver send a picture of their CDL license and then like all this extra paperwork on top of it, like it's like citizenship standing or legal status and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm all for them cleaning up the non-domicile stuff and getting all these drivers out of here. But I mean, in certain situations like the DACA people, like I mean, that's crazy information that you're giving up to a transportation company, and it's kind of like you have your hands tied because if you don't give it to them, you got to go out of business, or you do give it to them, and now they have all this information. You don't know what the hell they're using it for.
Right, but that's the key word you just said. You're giving it to them.
Yeah.
So the question is, what happens if you don't give it to them?
You go out of business.
You got out of business. So it's kind of, if you don't, but you are giving it to them. You guys got to understand that nobody's forcing anybody to give it. They're just saying if you don't give it to them, then you're not going to be able to use the brokers who go through Highway.com.
And that's a lot of them.
But again, there's a lot of them because there's basically Carrier and Highway, which are the top two. But what are you going to do when you're all automatically giving them this information because you want the business? It's a tough one, and unless they're misusing that information, I don't see where a lawsuit could come in against them.
Because I guess they're supposed to be opening up their own load board too, which is now going to be even worse. So if they open up their own load board, I mean, they got to somehow be misusing that information somewhere because there's no way they got all this info and they're just not using it to their advantage. This is what it makes sense.
I would encourage you or anybody that's listening to this to, I don't know if you show my email address on here, Bobby, but if you do, to email me issues that you're having specifically with Highway that maybe we could even prevent before it gets bigger. Again, they seem to me that they're a growing company. When I first started dealing with them over a year ago, they didn't seem they were getting into all this. Maybe we can have a little say in how they're adjusting their system. Carrier 411 just within the last year, my understanding they changed their system, made some changes, and maybe that's where we could fix Highway or help fix Highway to change some of that. So maybe send me an email, and if I see a common theme here, I could talk to somebody over there and get them to fix it before it gets out of hand.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's already out of hand, man. Because a lot of companies that are going down, and it's just absolutely wild. I think it's going to backfire one day because the market's not the best right now. So as soon as the market gets hot and these brokers need to move the freight, and then all these carriers are blocked, then they're going to be like, oh shit, what did we just do?
Yeah, you're taking down a lot of good carriers. The one that I'm dealing with right now with Highway, I pleaded with them. I said, you are literally harming by trying to protect something else. You're harming a good carrier, and it's sad. And that one I said will probably lead up to a lawsuit. But yeah, it's going to take something where the carriers do get together and say, no, we're not going to deal with somebody that's going to be dealing with with brokers that are making false reports, or highway if they're doing something nefarious. But you got to stick together. There's no avenue that I am aware of, maybe you know something, where carriers are collectively working together. It seems like there's a lot of new carriers in this industry in the last couple of years that, you know, they're going to do the jobs no matter what. But until you get the carriers to stick together, you're going to have this problem.
Yeah, the thing in trucking is the problem, and I don't think they're ever going to stick together, because if some people do it, other people are going to be like, oh, just take advantage and, take the loads or whatever. So I just don't see people sticking together in trucking, unfortunately, like
Let
that.
me ask you a question. Is there, because I heard you talking about it on one of your podcasts about immigration. Has immigration, and I'm not talking about legal immigration, has illegal immigration created more carriers in the United States, which is creating a new problem? And I don't know. I'm asking you that
Yeah,
question.
no, I mean, not only created new ones, but like even old ones that took advantage of the loopholes, that hired all these drivers for cheaper, that grew them. So I mean, obviously that's getting fixed a little bit right now. I feel because there's like the DACA people that got that DACA program through Obama. I kind of felt bad for them because they've been here for like a long time. They had their CDLs, and now like that kind of affected them. They
Right.
tried taking it to court recently, but they didn't go anywhere. So hopefully they're going to get some kind of side deal. Because like for them, I feel bad. I mean, like I said, they've been here for a while. But for all these people that came under like the Biden administration just through open borders, like they completely messed it up, man. Just took cheaper rates per mile, dropped our market, dropped our rates, and just completely like destroyed trucking pretty bad.
Right. I agree with you on the DACA, but yeah, in the last 4 years to the prior current administration, I think that, yeah, open borders killed, or not, shouldn't kill, but it hampered greatly the trucking industry. Just you got a lot of people that shouldn't have licenses have licenses.
Yeah, yeah, and especially like a lot of states are to blame too, And like I know somebody in the comments saying that it was by design. I mean, by whose design was it though? You know what I mean? Like I get it, it was by design. I'm sure, obviously, it was by design, and nobody's blaming the immigrants because like the immigrants came in here, obviously trying to get some money for their family, send some money out there. But at the same time, like what I mean, I blame the companies that took those immigrants in and took advantage of the loopholes. So
Right, and this is where both sides, Democrats and Republicans, need to be together and say, "Hey, listen, this does affect good people negatively, and we need to fix the problem." It's one thing to be for immigration. I think we're all for immigration because we all came here from somewhere. But illegal immigration, people that just walked over the border in the last 4 years, yes, you got to do something about it. It's a big problem. And I think both sides should worry about that because it does affect people beyond party lines.
yeah, my thing is too, man. Like before, like when you made it through here, like you have to like go through the Rio Grande, like do all this crazy stuff, and like once you got here, you deserve to be here. But I mean, you still didn't have like documents though. But you still got jobs, but like you didn't go get a CDL license and not speak English and drive 80,000 pounds down the road. But now they
Right.
let all these people enter the borders, gave them all these BS visas and work permits and all this kind of crazy shit, and just threw them, behind, a truck, which is absolutely crazy. Like it's crazy.
Well, it's crazy, it's dangerous, and it's just not right for hardworking, carriers that have been around here for a long time. For new people to come in, like you said, without, I think that we'll have to be more than just crossing the Rio Grande. But they have to do it the proper way and stay on another side until you're allowed to come in and do it legally. We do have legal ways for many immigrants, many immigrants to come in every year. Just do it legally. There's no reason to do it illegally.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, for the immigration system, I mean, in my eyes, it should be pretty easy to fix. I mean, they should see like who we need, what kind of people we need. If we need more labor, just let in some labor immigration. If we need more, like say tech, then start letting in like tech people, applications that apply. But
Absolutely, I agree, and there's got to be some kind of litmus test associated with that too, where we know that they're actually from tech, and we know they're actually for whatever labor we need, whatever industry is needed where we need more workers. Because people say, well, the hotel industries or some other industries that are labor intensive are suffering. Okay, well, let's let some of those people in now. Yeah, you have to pick it by industry.
yeah, well, back to the thing, like just back to the highway a little bit. So you're saying that like highways not overstepping at all with this data collection because we are
Well,
willingly given it?
yes, correct. You're willingly giving the information. It's when they use that information uh, in a nefarious way that's going to cause problems, which I haven't seen them use it in a bad way yet. That doesn't mean it can't grow into a bad way, but again, that's where I think a lot of people, maybe riding in and having a say in helping Highway create their system. I don't think Highway wants to hurt people. At least that's not what I think their plan is. But in order to inadvertently stop helping them hurt somebody, you got to let them know what's going to hurt people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I keep on trying to figure this shit out too because I'm like, dude, this is. But like, I guess what you're saying is they're just giving it up willingly, and I mean, it's not technically it's not willingly. I mean, there should be like a case made somehow where it's like kind of like hostage, because it's like if you don't give it up, you can't be in business, and if you do give it up, you're getting screwed. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, I get the willingly part, but then I don't think realistically it's willingly.
Right. So again, what do you do? Until something happens and it creates a lawsuit situation, there's not going to be a lot that people can do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's messed up, and a lot of people are just getting screwed. And like you said, even like with my buddy, that I mean, that's a lot of trucks to have, and then some stupidity like that happens, and then you got a good company that suffer now because of dumb stuff like this.
Right. And I also think, as we talked about getting carriers together on this, if you do create some kind of database that a certain broker is creating more of the issues, but I got to believe that is the system where more brokers are creating the system than other brokers. When you get a system where everybody can talk about one broker and then everybody says we don't deal with that broker, that would be good too, where everybody pitches in and we all, you got 10, 20, 30 people putting in for a class action suit because a broker just loves calling carrier or highway and putting in bad posts. That would be the way to start attacking them.
Yeah, unfortunately, nobody's going to stick together and try it.
Well, then you have to have individuals just, biting the bullet and filing lawsuits.
Yeah,
I don't mind filing lawsuits. I'm a lawyer in Illinois, and we've got lawyers in Indiana, Kentucky, but we'll find lawyers in all the states if we need to. We just obviously need lawsuits and people to come forward and say, listen, I want you to sue on my behalf. You get enough lawsuits out there, people are going to pay attention. The brokers will be like, okay, before I post this, maybe I want to think twice.
Yeah, I think we need to GoFundMe and get like a trucking group and just start sending out lawsuits everywhere. And then I think
it sounds as silly as that sounds. It's going to take something like that. But even before GoFundMe, if you just start filing lawsuits, a lot of times we spend too much time on demands, and that's a lawyer problem that we do. There's cases where I'll just take the case. I'm like, I'm just going to file this lawsuit right away. I'm not going to put a demand in because I'm going to waste my time with the demand. I'm going to cause my client to waste 6 months and some money while I'm demanding, and they're trying to negotiate, not really doing it in good faith. But yeah, there's times there you just file a lawsuit. I think if, let's say there's a carrier and he has a legit gripe with some broker that posted something bad, and he just says, listen, John, they've lied. I didn't do this. And he's serious. He's not lying to me. I would say, listen, let's just go ahead and file a lawsuit. That's going to get attention too. If they see the lawsuits just come their way without a pre-warning, without a demand, with that, they might take it down.
Have you done any like cool, weird shit lately? Any kind of weird stuff that sticks out that's funny or something, or anything interesting?
I love the business I'm in, because I do sometimes just get to get tough with people, even though I'm a very, very super nice guy. I get to get tough with people, and it's fun because I know that I have a winning case, and I get to, say what I want to say on my end, knowing fully well there's nothing they can do about it. So, but no examples I could share with you right now.
Yeah, because like Darren wouldn't even talk to you right until you slapped a lawsuit, right? From what I remember.
Yeah, we'd filed a lawsuit. We dismissed that lawsuit against Darren after we talked to him. We continued the case against the broker for a little bit, and then we actually dropped against the broker. We came to terms with the broker. And there's another case with Darren where he thought that the broker was right, and I'm like, no, the carrier's right, and that's the case that we're still fighting in court today. So me and Darren could disagree on a lot of things, and we probably do, but we can agree on things also. But yeah, in this case, we'll win that lawsuit. I'm not worried about that one. We don't lose lawsuits here.
Yeah, I want to actually see like something happen where people actually do follow through with the lawsuit and see what happens and see, because I know there was one like over $400,000 granted. I forgot what state it was out of. But there was one already granted for the brokers, and then I wonder if you think the brokers' insurance. Do you think a lot of brokers have like the lawyer insurance stuff to help them pay for this shit? Or
should not. Their insurance should not cover defamation, because that's not something that just happened to them. That's not an accident. That's something purposefully, somebody committing a tort purposefully, and I can't see it. I'd be surprised when we win against this company we're going after if an insurance company takes care of them. Usually, if the insurance company is going to take care of him, it's from day one. I've had a trucker where he bought a vehicle. He bought a vehicle and it ended up being just junk, a piece of crap. And his insurance company got the company that sold it to him. They got their insurance company involved, and the insurance company's covering that. Now, I don't understand why they would cover a salesperson who did a raunchy job of ripping somebody off. But yeah, I know about an insurance company right away. if I go to court, I know the insurance company whether they're in or not. In this case, they're not in. So my guess is they're not covering defamation cases. It means
Yeah,
the
'cause-
broker's got to handle it all by themselves, and that's where it gets very, very costly for the broker.
Yeah, because like a lot of brokers like are not huge, you know what I mean? So like a lawsuit, you know what I mean, is gonna put a little dent into their, financial situation.
It puts a big dent in anybody that's facing a lawsuit. I don't care who it is. Just from experience, lawsuits are expensive. They just are. They're no fun for the people spending the money. So our goal is to, also ask for, for defamation, you could get punitive fees, which include attorney's fees. So that's what we do try to get. But unfortunately, you still have to outlay the money to the attorneys, whether it's me or your own attorney. You have to put out money to the attorney. But if your attorney is asking for attorney's fees, punitive damages, interest, all that stuff, you might even make some money on the defamation lawsuit.
And then what about like loss of business because of it? Does that come into
Oh yeah, that
effect?
goes too. Yes, that you're going to have loss of businesses, punitive damages, attorney fees, interest, lots of different things that attorneys could put in their complaint that will make it worth the lawsuit. But again, you've got at least a year that you're putting money into any kind of a lawsuit if the lawsuit's going to trial. Trials don't happen for maybe up to 2 years on these kind of cases. So you're in it for the long haul. And
Yeah.
as long as you understand that you're going to get it back on the back end when the win comes, you're good. But you got to kind of budget that in. I would probably tell a lot of carriers to just budget in money for lawsuits because you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, once you go balls
That's any
deep,
business, by the way.
yeah, once you go balls deep, you might as well go all the way, right? Because I mean, like once you're already like committed to a certain point, there's no point of like spending a bunch of money and then the broker being like, okay, I'll just take this down, let's just forget about it. At that
Yeah.
point, like you might as well just keep going.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll look up brokers, I'll look up other companies and see what the lawsuits they're in. If somebody's constantly fighting lawsuits, that's going to be someone's going to go to the mat with you. They're going to take you all the way. And I'll tell my client, hey, listen, they're not a stranger to lawsuits. They've been this many lawsuits. They're going to go all the way with you. So I can help the client make the decision. Do they want to jump in with somebody who's getting lawsuits as opposed to a company that maybe gets a lawsuit and I see they get kicked out right away, so they probably sell right away. So you got to know what you're in for. But listen, with any business we have, Bobby, I would say you've got to put money aside for suing people. You just do, because you got to protect your interest. Just like you have insurance. Nobody has a problem giving money to insurance. But for some reason, budgeting money for a legal side, they have a big problem with. You budget money for accounting, you budget money for a lot of things. You're going to have to budget money for legal services, especially in the trucking industry. But in any business, I would tell a business to do that, because you've got to defend yourself, even if that means being aggressive with people. You can't just, let your business fade away because somebody's, giving you a bad name. You got to fight that. You got to fight it hard. You got to fight it fast.
Unfortunately, right now, trucking is doing bad, so people probably can't put away money for anything. But we got a question from a broker, and I see a bunch of you guys asking questions. Like, if anybody has like good questions, I'll read them. But a lot of they're stupid as shit, so I'm not even gonna bother with them. But Connected says, how is it common for brokers to short drivers, like truck order not use layovers attention? Like, how is that legal? Basically, I'm not sure if you know what it means, but like when you get a load from a broker and then like say they cancel a load on you, they're supposed to pay a truck order not used. Or if you lay over, they're supposed to pay like a certain amount of money, or like detention pay if you sit more than 2 hours at a thing, and they're just like robbing these carriers and not paying for the stuff they're supposed to be paying. He's asking like, how are these guys getting away with this shit?
Well, because nobody's suing them. I hate to keep on saying sue, sue, sue. It's like drill, baby, drill. This is sue, sue, baby, sue. The problem is it's a breach of contract. And in breach of contracts in most states, like in Illinois, you cannot get, or it's harder to get, damages for attorney's fees. And that's the problem why people mostly don't sue on breach of contracts. But that's the only way you're going to get it, is if you do file lawsuits.
Yeah, but you see like these small amounts are easier because you can just go to small claims court, right, and just do that.
Absolutely. Your $10,000, yeah, that's a great, God, I'm glad you brought that up. Small claims courts are so underutilized. A lot of these cases, which the question that you just had involving these small amounts, take them to task. Put them in a small claims lawsuit where they have to show up. It costs you maybe $200-300 to do the small claims lawsuit. Literally, you show up 1 or 2 days to court, and that's it. The judge hears your side. The judge hears their side. You get one little rebuttal on your side, and he decides. And he's going to decide fairly. Those judges see a lot of crap in small claims court. But I'm going to tell you what, from the carrier standpoint, if it's an under $10,000 lawsuit, file in a small claims court. Don't waste money. Just do it right away.
Now,
Don't
what
let
if they're
people take your money away.
out of the state or whatever? Do you have to show up there, or they do Zoom still, like for small? They
A
probably
lot
won't
of
do it.
states do Zoom. If you're in a trial though, that day of trial, you
You
will
have to be
probably
there.
do it in person. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's even there. It's in and out. The judges, you're not doing a regular lawsuit like a lawyer does. You're doing a lawsuit talking in layman's term. It's like you and me having a conversation. That's how it is in small claims court. The judge is letting this side have a conversation and this side have a conversation, and then the judge makes a decision. And the judges there have pretty good, feeling of who's right, who's wrong.
And then but you could file everything like from your home state. You think like so like with the court, like say they're in Los Angeles, you're in Chicago. Are you able to file all that shit like like?
Well, you got to file it where the defendant is. So if you're in California and the person that's ripping you off is in Illinois, you have two options here. One is go to their state and sue them. Okay. The other option is you could try, something where they're doing business in your state because they hired you here. So you might be able to sue in your state, but they can put a motion in to get the case transferred to their state because
And I'm saying like small claims court. Like say if you're in Chicago, they're in Los Angeles. Like do you have to fly out to Los Angeles to file in small claims court, or could you do everything like via like internet?
you could file the small claims court online in
Okay.
Los Angeles or pretty much just about anywhere. I don't know if anybody doesn't do small claims by filing online, but yeah, for the trial, I would probably say 90% of the times for the trial you're going to have to be there.
Understood. So yeah, I mean that's actually right too. Because if you think about it, a bunch of people just start taking people to the smallest claims court. I mean that's going to teach them a lesson too. Of, I mean $10,000, but you get dinged $10,000 is fucking, 10, 15 times is going to add up.
Right. And a lot of people are afraid even to go to small claims court. I would encourage people, don't be afraid, because online with every state that I'm aware of, they have small claim papers online that you just literally fill in. And one of the things, it's a big old paragraph that says, put your description of your complaint here. And you're able to put the complaint in your own words as to what had happened and file it. It holds people accountable.
Yeah, let's get into. So I mean, you obviously started doing a lot of trucking shit lately. So what's next? Trucking accidents?
I'd love to get trucking accidents. Yeah, I mean, those are big time trucking accidents. We don't have a lot of trucking accidents. I'd love to get, if anybody's got trucking accidents, send them my way.
I still got to make those
That's
videos for you.
great.
I got some good ideas for some videos that I'm gonna shoot coming up soon. I'm a little tied up for like the next 2 weekends on content, but after that, I think you're gonna see me get into character again, like for the Blue Tiger headset video. I think.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, because I got some good ideas. Because I think that's the way to go too, man. I mean, might as well. You're already doing all this trucking shit. Might as well start getting into the accidents thing. Next, I want to see you on all the billboards on the side of the highways, man.
That's right. That's what we're going for. All the billboards.
But yeah, so you like this trucking. I see you like this. Like it amuses you, huh? Like you get a kick out of it.
I wouldn't say it amuses me. I have my fun with it sometimes when somebody's just wrong. But yeah, it's been good for me. I think you were literally the first client I ever did in trucking. Didn't know much about it. We had a great relationship. Me and you, Maggie, Marius, had a great time. And I think there's a lot in this trucking that a lot left to do here, and our firm will do it.
And then but you're not coming back. I guess you're staying in Florida though, or what? Are you gonna? Or you still
Illinois,
bounce
Florida.
back?
I mean, I go back and forth. Illinois, Florida. We're probably going to even open up in Colorado too. We're also have an office in Indiana, so we'll branch out.
Where about my house somewhere?
That's the goal.
Okay. And then your daughter's where? Here in Chicago, or she's by Florida with you?
She's in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, right now.
Okay. So that's good, man. So we're definitely getting into that. There's definitely more subjects I want to talk about. Okay, so now you started working on the leased purchase programs too, right? With the drivers, you probably want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So lease the purchase for the drivers. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Would this affect any of your clients out here? I don't want to. I don't want to tell on people here because you and me had shared some text. Yeah, if you want me to talk, I talk about it, but I don't want to take anybody
Hey,
off.
man, that's it. No holds barred, man. I'm not holding shit back.
Okay, well let's talk about that because I just started taking these kind of cases, and they're misclassification cases. That's what we're talking about, right? Misclassification.
Yeah, I mean, I technically disagree with this whole thing, just to let you know. But yeah, we're definitely going to talk about it, so we can at least have some banter back and forth.
I disagree with it too, but it's the law, and if we're following the law, and I'm a lawyer, I'm going to sue based on it. And what it is if somebody is hiring a trucker to do a job, and so they lease him from their company. So let me just say, let's say ABC company makes it easy, right? Don't blame anybody right now. So ABC company wants to hire Joe Smith to carry loads, and ABC company is going to lease a truck and a trailer to Joe Smith. And so Joe Smith can only do jobs for ABC. So ABC gives him all the jobs. ABC gives him the truck to lease, the trailer to lease, and off he goes. And Joe Smith is only doing those calls. And they're giving him gas money, which he has to pay back. All the stuff that comes out of his check. I see these checks that get, God, the amount of money you guys pay for leasing and trucks and trailers is crazy, because you get all the charges you got to go along with that. Tolls, you got the, anything that you're paying for, repairs, they get taken out of their checks. That's illegal. See, because you are an employee. They're classifying you as a 1099. And you are really an employee in that case. And that's where the lawsuit comes in. And here's the interesting part. I cannot get most people to understand that their companies aren't sure. They're, well, we got a 1099 subcontractor agreement, so too bad he's a 1099 contractor. No, sorry, not by the state standards. He is an employee, and I will sue because he's an employee. I just shared with you, Bobby, a case that we're doing right now where we're going to probably sue when it comes down to it for about $225,000 for a trucker in Texas, because an Illinois company hired him and he should have been an employee, and they were taking all this money out of his check. You can't do that. I had one company, again, I'm not going to name names, but I told them, I said, don't make me sue you. I don't want to sue you. I'm right, you're wrong. And they argued, just like, you would say that, no, we have a contract.
Well, not even about the contract, but the thing I disagree with is, like, all the drivers want to fucking do this. Then they know what they're getting themselves into. You should never get into at least the purchase program.
This is where people can call me, and I don't want to say it over the internet here, but there's a way to do the leasing right. There's a way to kind of, I don't want to say get around the law, because that's not
well,
really
I think if you act more of a bank, right, and then actually just do like a purchase sale as a loan.
Well, number one, think of it this way. It's control. If you are leasing a vehicle to somebody, and at the same time you're saying you could only do calls for me, I am ABC company, you can only do calls for me, you are an employee. So just that's the big one. Take that away. Say you are welcome to do calls for anybody.
So even if they got a different holdings company to hold the equipment, and then the holdings company leases it over to the driver, and then the driver works for that carrier, that's still like,
yeah,
not
that's
legit?
actually the way they do it. So that's like the big thing right now, where ABC companies has another company called XYZ company, but you're going to lease the vehicle from XYZ company. But guess what? There's always a paper trail that says ABC sent you to XYZ. Besides that, ABC, who's paying for you, is still telling you can only do their jobs. Think about this, Bobby. If you needed a plumber to come to your house today to fix a toilet, right? You can't tell that plumber, well, you can't do any other jobs for anybody else in this neighborhood, because if you do, I'm not going to use your services. No, you just say, hey, what time you can be here? He'll give you a day and a time he's going to be there. Maybe he'll be late. He probably will be late, but he can do businesses for other people. He can blow you off to do somebody else's job. Why? Because he's a contractor. He's a 1099. He is not an employee. But the minute you exert control, the minute you say, Mr. Plumber, you're only going to work for me, you're not going to do anybody else's, and I'm going to pay you, now you're an employer. There's a difference. And now if you're going to give the plumber, if you're going to let him use tools, he's an employee, because you're letting him use the tools for all his jobs. Not just your job, but for everybody's job. So it's about control. Are you taking control by providing the tools, or the trailer and the truck in this case? Are you saying that you can only do jobs for me? You are an employee. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm going to prove that in trial for a couple of people that I have right now. You are an employee. 100%. You're an employee.
Yeah, I just don't like the drivers. They like I'm saying, lease to purchase. I tell everybody, don't fucking do it. Like, don't do it. Don't do lease to purchase. And then they still insist on doing it because they have no money. They want to they think they're gonna do like fucking zero money fucking down, and then they're gonna become fucking rich. Sorry, hold on. I gotta reply to this.
Well, most of these lease to purchase though are from the very company that's hiring you to do the work, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry. One more time.
Most of these lease to purchase companies are from the companies that are hiring you to do the work.
Yes, but I'm saying, like, what I'm saying is, like, the drivers, like, okay, like, they have no money, right? And they're like, okay, I want to be my own owner operator, so I'm gonna go to this company and do this $0 down lease to purchase program. Like, what the fuck are they expecting if they have no money, like, no money saved? And do they think this is gonna be like a good offer where they're actually gonna make money? No, like they're walking into this and just asking for this shit. So then, once shit goes bad, or they fail or do whatever, then they get mad. Then they want to sue. That's the only thing that kind of aggravates me about the whole situation, right? Like they're not suing. Most of them are not trying to sue or do something because the company did something bad. They're suing because they fucking failed. They knew what they were getting into. They signed everything, and they still chose to do it. But once they fucking failed, they want to blame other people instead of themselves. Which in the first case, they should have never even fucking did the deal.
You're right. They shouldn't have done the deal in the first place, but they don't know that. A lot of people are desperate. They're truckers. They want to work. And the only avenue is for them to do these quasi subcontractor deals, which are not subcontractor deals. They're employees they get, where they start out with, let's just give a round figure, $10,000 for a week. And then they get $9,982 taken out of their check. And they walk away with whatever's left, 100 and some bucks is what they get left. It's absolutely insane and crazy to me. I would definitely say if you're going to do these lease deals, make sure the companies are not related. In other words, if you can only do a lease deal because you're going to work from ABC company, don't do it. It's a ripoff.
I mean, you can't do it any other way, unfortunately, because you can't just keep on switching stickers on your truck. You know what I mean? If you're working for one company, you got to work for one company. There are companies out there that just lease you the truck and let you go wherever you want. But even when you do that, you still have to stick with one company. Then if you want to change it, you have to do the whole switch up because then you got to do like a drug test and all this shit, for the drivers. But I mean, that's the only thing that really makes me angry about it is like, I mean, are there predatory companies that like definitely like take advantage and just like, screw drivers over? Yeah, I'm sure there is. But there's also a lot of dumbass drivers that don't know what the fuck they're doing and then go into deals like this and then just screw themselves up and then cry about it. You know what I mean? So,
well, but I think they're in a situation where they kind of have to take the job. If they only realize in the beginning that a Walmart greeter probably at the end of the day is going to make more than they make, and I'm not knocking on truckers, I love the truckers, but if they realize the Walmart greeter is going to make more money, they probably should have took the Walmart job because you're right. They get screwed so bad that they'd be better off working at Walmart or Costco or anything
But they
else.
could have just been a company driver, just got paid whatever 70 cents a mile, 72 cents a mile they're paying, and then
yeah.
But they want to risk it for the biscuit, and then they don't get the biscuit, and they cry like little babies.
Let's face it, though, everybody wants to live the American dream. You start your own business, and that's what in their mind they're doing. I don't think they don't go into this, completely dumb to it, but they're trying to live the American dream. They just don't realize the other person is going to rip you off so much that that you're not going to live that American dream.
Yeah,
you're just going to be ripped off.
I mean, the best way I tell drivers is like, dude, listen, go bust your ass, save your money, put a nice down payment on the truck so that way you got a low payment, have some like 20, 30 grand put away just for repairs, whatever, and then you get a good jump start to it.
Yeah. That's the way.
Anytime anybody tells you zero down, you're gonna get rich quick. That shit's not gonna happen, dude. You know what I mean? So
that's not the way it works. Yes, you're right. You got to save some money. You got to put some skin in the game. When you have some skin in the game, you're probably doing it right. And that's number one. Number two, you got to talk to experienced drivers like yourself. If you don't have experienced people on your side saying that's a great deal, then it's probably not a great deal. So I would always tell new truckers, inexperienced truckers that going into this kind of business, talk to experienced people that have done it on their own so they can tell you what's wrong and what's right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure these lease to purchase programs are dying out anyways because people are actually getting hip to it. I think when it first started, there probably was some decent deals, but now it's just like, dude, it's just not worth it. I don't even understand why people still even want to, contemplate even doing it whatsoever. It makes
crazy. No sense to me. Like I said, I see the settlement checks they get, and it's crazy. It's so low. I don't know why they're doing it at all.
Yeah, and then they'd be taking like a bunch of cash advances too, and then like
the cash advance. yes, they're getting lots of cash advances.
But I mean, at least now they have the walk away lease one, so at least the drivers could just say fuck it and walk away. I mean but this shows you how desperate like these companies were getting to get these drivers in the door for these lease to purchase programs, because now it finally got to the point. This was just like recently the walk away lease shit like became like popular. They're like, oh, and this is how basically they're telling you, hey, we're gonna fuck you. Like this deal's so bad that you could just walk away from it as soon as you find out we're screwing you, and then you're good to go.
Right, but even there, they seem to find a way to take an extra $1,000 or $1,500 out of your pocket because that's what they made you put down or something. And they have a way of keeping that from you. And I get a lot of people that call me about that even. But unfortunately, a $1,500 deal, like we talked earlier, go to small claims court.
Yeah. What else are we gonna find? Who else are we suing, dude? Let's fucking just start suing people.
Yeah, just email me, get me some lawsuits.
We're gonna start
doing things wrong. I don't want to sue people that aren't doing things wrong, but people are doing things wrong. You need to sue them.
We're gonna start picking apart the trucking industry and see what's right for the picking for some lawsuits, dude.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
Okay, so basically, what makes that illegal is that you said that they're not a 1099 technically, but they're employee because they're telling them what to do. They're giving them the tools.
Misclassified it. I've gotten arguments with people all the time. Companies that no, we have the company. We've got the 1099 contract. Trust me, the contract means absolutely nothing. I can't have a contract with you, Bobby, to go rob a bank. Okay, you can't hold me for a breach of contract because I won't go rob a bank with you. Well, that's very similar to a subcontractor contract. That's really a misclassification. When you're doing something that's wrong, the contract's not valid. It's plain and simple.
So okay, so what if you do like instead of having a company that leases, what if you have like another company that gives out financing for the trucks, like bad credit financing for the trucks for that driver, and then the driver goes drives for that company? What would happen then?
Well, if he's just driving for one company, he's an employee. If you're not allowed to do other calls, then you are an employee.
So even if you
you're
have your
allowed
own
to
truck,
do calls for other companies, it doesn't matter. Because let's say you went to business for yourself today, Bobby, and you had a truck, you would take any call that was going to hire you. Anybody was going to hire you to do a load, right? But if you're only subjected to one company that can give you, and that's the only company you can use because that's what your lease for your truck requires, then you are an employee.
so what if you actually bought the truck though? So there's a lot of owner operators that actually bought their own truck and their own credit and everything, and they choose to go to that company to lease under them. Then it doesn't make sense because they
Listen,
chose.
if you choose to just work with one company, but why would you? Let's do the plumber thing again, because I think
Well, it's not, but it's a little bit different with the trucking company because you can't just hop around under different companies and pick up loads because it doesn't work that way because insurances and drug tests and all that kind of shit.
right. Again, then you become an employee. It's if you're only dealing with one company. In my experience, you are an employee. I have yet to see where you're not an employee. But again, hey, maybe something will show me different. Okay, that's not a.
Well, I mean that's the case, man. I mean, a lot of people are going to be in trouble, and then that's going to kind of leave a stupid loophole for anybody, even like real owner operator that gets upset with a company, just to go and sue him just because he's upset with them for no reason, you know.
Yeah, as long as there's lawyers to take those cases, yes.
There's definitely going to be lawyers to take these cases.
Let's look at California wanted to go after Uber and charge them for not having employees. But in Uber's case, they were able to make a good point. They said, wait a minute, we're not providing the vehicle. We also aren't telling them that they could only work for Uber. We're also not telling them they can only take these certain clients. So that's how Uber got around it. That's not how it's going in the trucking industry. In the trucking industry, you're working for one company. If you're looking for one company, you are an employee. I don't see how you get around it.
So you're basically saying, so if those like cars have like Uber stickers on the side and they're like, you know, like they lease to Uber, then it'll be like a different story. But since then, like they're not their vehicles, they're only using their program to get jobs, and then they're allowed to use Lyft app as well to get jobs. That kind of disqualified them from getting
Have you
into
seen
trouble.
like a lot of these cars have both Lyft and Uber? Those little lights they have in their dashboard. They do them both. So they're not stuck to one company. But that's because they're not employees. They're subcontractors, and that's all. They're not controlled by Uber. They get to pick their own shifts. And in the truck industry, you're not picking your own shifts. You got to do a load. You got to do it at a certain time, and that's that. That factored in with the fact that you're only dealing with one company. You're an employee. I don't see how you get around it.
It might be bad. That might be after a lot of trucking companies, and like I said, the drivers might take advantage of them and just start suing them for fucking for no reasons whatsoever, you know.
Well, is it taking advantage of? Because let's go back to this McDonald's thing here. Or Walmart. When you work for Walmart and McDonald's, you don't got a bunch of 1099 contractors walking the aisles. Those are employees. Why? Because they've got to be there. They've got to be there at certain times. They're not allowed to work at McDonald's and go across the street and flip a couple burgers for Burger King. They got to work for McDonald's only. So they're employees. There's control. When you have control, you're an employee.
So, like, for example, because I mean, I think if like 1099 gets taken away from people, I think it's such a horrible thing because 1099 is such a good tool for people to have and be able to do that just for like.
Oh, no. I should say that up front here. While I'm advocating that, you have lawsuits, I'm also completely against it. I think you should be able to have subcontractors. But, that's not reality, though, anymore. You used to be able to have subcontractors. You can't have subcontractors like you used to. The states, especially states like Illinois, New Jersey, California, really cracking down on that, where they insist on control. Control means that you are an employee.
So what if you're like, let's say you got an employee, right? It's 1099, right? And then you're like, hey, listen, tomorrow we need you for a job around 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like then is that different the way you word
if you're
it?
just doing one job for somebody, you're not an employee.
Well, what if their job's Monday through Friday or Saturday?
But if they're saying you can only take you can only take our calls, I mean
Well, no,
I'm sorry.
you could take other people's calls. Maybe what if they choose not to?
Then that's fine. Then you're not employed. Then you're 1099.
Okay,
You
so
could
basically, it
choose.
just comes down to the fucking employee if he wants to be a fucking douchebag or not. And
That's it. Right.
yeah,
And the control the company is exerting over you. If you can only take their calls and you can't take calls from other companies, you are an employee.
yeah, fucking wild, man. I mean, these lawsuits, man, everywhere. We need to start suing Highway and whatchamacallit and Carrier 401. That's what we need to start doing. So just walk us through a little bit. Like, say somebody calls you and they're like, "Hey, I got a FreightGuard report. I need you to help me. What's your step by step?"
Step by step, number one, I say send me a copy of the FreightGuard. I've got to see the FreightGuard. A lot of people don't even have access to FreightGuard to see it. So, hopefully they got a friend because I don't have access either to it anymore. But if you're able to see the FreightGuard and you can send the FreightGuard to me, then I'm going to have the talk with you. The talk I'm going to have is how much of this stuff is real. Here's what they're accusing you of. Is any of it is real? If they say it's all real, now I'm going to call the broker and see if I can negotiate a deal. Like, hey, this is the first time. Can you please drop this? But if it's real, I'm not suing because I'm not going to lie in court. But if the client tells me no, it's not real, I didn't do a thing they're saying, then I'm going to go ahead and put a demand letter out. The demand letter just says, hey, I drafted a lawsuit, okay, because there's pretty much template at this point. My lawsuits don't change too much. I will send it to the company, say, hey, listen, you lied about this FreightGuard report, take it down or file a suit. And some companies say, go ahead, file a suit, and I will file a suit. And then we file a lawsuit. A lot of companies settle right there. They go, hey, by the way, if you drop that lawsuit, can we just, forget this whole thing and we'll take down the site? I say, yes, fine. But some companies, like the one I was telling you now that I'm still in a deep lawsuit with, some of them want to fight, but it costs them to fight. They're going to spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars fighting to keep a bad report on somebody. I don't understand it, why they want to do that, but this particular company does.
yeah, at that point, it's like, dude, like the financial risk versus reward. Like at that point, I think you might as well just say fuck it, right?
In this case, the company, in my mind, will lose. I don't see how they're going to beat me, and we'll see at the end, though. Maybe my client's lying to me about something. I've looked at everything. From what I could see, there's no lies on our side, and for my client. And if that's the case, we'll win the lawsuit, and they'll have to pay for the defamation that they caused, the damages they caused through the defamation damages they'll pay for.
Yeah, but if they're already that deep, they're imagine what the fuck's going through their head where they're like, oh, they just keep on dumping money into this and keep going. It's like, is erase the report or just keep on paying tens of thousands of dollars?
I'll tell you, a lot of it's pride. I had one company where they should have taken something down. They said, no, we're not going to take it down only because last time we did, we let the guy off, and this time we're holding firm. We're not going to, it's a weird stance to take that says, okay, well, since you let somebody off before, you're not going to let somebody off again. But they did. And, my client in that case didn't want to file a lawsuit, but maybe because they were lying to me, but they didn't want to file a lawsuit. But the company was prepared to fight it. The broker was.
There you go. My wife's asking, she's in the chat. She's asking if any legal repercussions for drivers who abandon their trucks. Probably not. I mean, maybe. I guess you can sue them too, right?
Drivers that abandon their trucks, yeah, that's going to be a breach of agreement, probably.
Yeah, but then you got to sue them. Everything's with a loss. Yeah, I'm
Everything
sure
with a lawsuit,
there's
yes, and the
consequences
broker's
for
gotta
everything as long as you start cuffing up those fucking zwotas, man. Then you
Right.
could get anybody in trouble for fucking anything, dude.
Right, but I would not encourage people to abandon trucks. I think that's probably bad practice, going to get you in trouble.
And then when you're like with Highway, you just got to call them directly when you're dealing with trying to fix issues with Highway, for example.
Highway's very receptive to me. I've got to admit, I know a lot of people on here don't like Highway. I don't have any issues with Highway responding to me with the truth of what's going on. And sometimes, me and Michael will go back and forth. He'll say, John, here's what I'm hearing from my side. I'll say, hey, Michael, this is what I'm hearing from my side. And, we start talking it through. And there's a couple times that I think there are some unresolved issues just because, it's very recent. But most of the times, Highway has been pretty good with dealing with the truth.
Well, that's at least good because they're not dealing with everything else good. They're kind of screwing every.
Right, but again, Bobby, this is where it's good. It's valuable for me to have a good relationship with people at Highway and people at Carrier 401 because you do want to keep them talking. You do want to say, listen, you're doing the wrong thing here. This person didn't do what you said what you think they are doing, and that needs to come down. Like I said, with Highway, I've had a lot of good success with them doing the right thing.
One more question. Now, obviously, with highway, you're saying like if you give them access to the shit like ELDs, then you're giving it to them. They're allowed to do it. So, say what about like brokers or customers that put tracking devices into the freight without the knowledge of the trucking company? Is that an invasion of privacy, or what are we?
That's a good question. I've not even. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one. I haven't even thought about that one because you're right. You're putting it into. On the surface, I don't see a problem with it because it's in their freight, but not
on your trailer and
disclosing
truck.
that to the carrier seems like that would be a problem to me because I think everything needs to be disclosed and that should be disclosed as well.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be like a state by state basis, right? From what I kind of
Right.
read up on it a little bit.
Yeah, because you're supposed to have. I mean, remember, you guys are supposed to be able to say what's on your load. You should not know what's on your load.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, I mean, I just really think that there has to be something like again, but you're saying your people are giving it up, so I don't know how far it could go, but I just think there's so much invasion of privacy going on with everything, like in trucking right now, that it's like crazy, man. Like especially you hook up your ELDs, like your logbooks, they see everywhere you're at. I mean, you can't even go take a shit without them knowing where you're at.
Well,
I mean, it's
isn't that the
absolutely crazy.
whole internet thing? Like, especially now with ChatGPT, I wish I should warn all the listeners here too about ChatGPT. Everybody thinks you put something in ChatGPT, you're good. No, number one, that's getting pushed around for people to see downward, but it's discoverable unless you had a right to privacy that you thought you paid for, which mostly is not the case with ChatGPT. You have no right to privacy, and so as a lawyer, if you're on ChatGPT writing in all these things you're doing or things you want to do, I could discover that. I could force you to hand it over. And if I find out that you deleted it, now I'm going to get you for spoliation, which means you destroyed evidence. And now you're going to lose the case and you're going to get dinged punitively for destroying evidence. So be very cautious when you use ChatGPT because a lot of information's on there and it is discoverable. But yeah, I think all that information that everybody's exposing is going to catch up with everybody. In China, they say they got the social scores,
credit score,
social credit scores. I don't know if they do or don't, but yeah, eventually that seems like that's where it's headed, just because everybody gives their information out to the internet, no matter what.
Yeah, but it's now getting to the point like where you're kind of forced to, or you can't even, like.
Isn't that with
normal
everything?
society.
I mean, you sign an online contract today. You got the contract, and then you got these blue highlights that you got to click on that to see the contract within the contract. And it's, you're like, oh, screw it, I'm not going to read all that. And you go ahead and sign, and you give your life away. You gave your social security number, your birth date, and your signature, and nobody seems to care anymore. Nobody wants to read the contracts.
Yeah, I mean, and the worst part about like what's going on with highway and all these people, they think they're saving the industry from fraud, but they're really just like hurting smaller carriers. And the fraud thing gets to be such an easy fix just by just checking the actual contact information, like the email or phone numbers, like checking that shit out. And I think they're just going way far, far beyond than they need to go to like fix this shit, and they're just ruining it like so bad.
Yeah, there is one case I have that's exactly what's happening, where somebody used a fictitious email to claim they were with a broker to set up a load that they didn't end up taking, obviously because they weren't real carriers. And my client, the carrier, got caught up in that, and they got a ding on highway. And I explained to highway, I said, listen, you're hurting the wrong guy here. They said, well, yeah, but we're trying to protect the brokers from this false email address. I'm like, that's great, but you're naming my client as somebody that is part of this. And he says, well, yes, because they're the ones that got their email address being faked. It's a very bad situation. I'm probably doing a terrible job of explaining it, but yes, that is the one thing that I'm still trying to deal with highway on.
Well, no, these scammers will just put like the same email and just put like a dash or a period.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what
But that's
they're
on the
doing,
broker
right.
to check that shit that email matches. You know what I mean? With whatever information's out there. So like the broker fell for it, but now the carrier has to pay for it, and it could happen to any carrier.
Right. So in this case, highway is the one that's putting it on there. That, hey, watch out for this email address. They say they're XYZ company, but it's not really XYZ company, it's this company. But XYZ company is the one that's everybody sees. They're not going to dig deeper. They're going to be like, I'm not using XYZ company because they've got, a ding. When they really don't have a ding, they're just trying to say, hey, watch out for this email address that's being associated with XYZ. So it is a problem that we're still not figuring out how they're going to handle it at highway.com, but that is hurting a good company by somebody that was trying to hurt them or hurt a broker.
Yeah, I mean, when just simple thing they could have just done is checked in the first place, and without seeing that red alert on there, you know what I mean? They could have just checked it anyways, and it would have affected them because they would have caught it anyways. So basically, that red alert should be on every company because fraud is so bad right now. Then you should be doing that check to every company, not just messing up, other companies. Because like you said, they don't give a shit. They're going to see it. They're like, okay, fuck this company. I'm moving on.
Right. They're not going in further. They're not digging deeper. Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I mean, I think that's pretty much it, man. All the questions I got for you today, man, unless you got anything to add.
No, that's it. I appreciate you having me on again. It's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure working with you, talking with you. Enjoy it.
Awesome, John. Thank you for coming on, dude. We'll definitely do it again when some more shit happens in trucking.
Yeah.
And then we'll follow up, see how that Carrier 401 lawsuit is going for you. And hopefully you guys win and we start scaring these bastards a little bit, man.
Sounds good, buddy. I'll keep you up to date.
If anybody wants to hit up John for any legal advice, his email is right under his face. So you have it there. He's more than happy probably to take on any new business, any help with Carrier 401 reports, highway shit, any kind of trucking related shit. Hit him up. He's a really nice guy, charges really fair prices, known him for a long time. So you're good to use him. All right, John, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bobby. Take care. See you later.